Ever wondered which governmental agencies might be the most corrupt? It's a question that, quite frankly, can send a shiver down anyone's spine. Corruption, after all, is a dark and insidious force that exists in every corner of the globe, in every level of society, and yes, even within the walls of the institutions that are meant to uphold justice and fairness. Today, we're diving into the murky waters of governmental corruption. We're not just skimming the surface here, folks. We're plunging deep into the labyrinthine depths of bureaucracy, where transparency often gives way to shadowy dealings and the abuse of power. You might be asking why? Why shine a spotlight on these dark corners? Well, the impact of corruption on society and the economy is far-reaching and devastating. It erodes trust in our institutions, widens the gap between the rich and the poor, and stifles economic development. It's a billion-dollar problem that affects us all, regardless of where we live or what we do. And so, we believe it's important to talk about it, to expose it, and to understand it. Because only then can we begin to fight it. In this video, we're going to reveal the top 5 most corrupt governmental agencies. We're not here to point fingers or to lay blame, but rather to shed light on a problem that often remains hidden in plain sight. These are the agencies that, according to various reports and studies, have allowed the most corruption to occur. They are the ones that, despite their vital roles in our society, have been marred by scandals, mismanagement, and the misuse of public funds. So brace yourselves. This journey won't be an easy one, but it's a necessary one. Because the more we know, the better equipped we are to demand change, to insist on transparency, and to hold those in power accountable. Stay tuned as we uncover the 5th most corrupt governmental agency. It's a revelation that might surprise you, but one that we hope will also enlighten you. Kicking off our countdown at number 5, we have the Department of Transportation. This agency, responsible for facilitating and regulating the transportation system in the country, has unfortunately been marred by a series of corruption scandals. Its main functions, which include planning and coordinating federal transportation projects, ensuring safety, and managing infrastructure, are crucial to the smooth functioning of our society. However, these noble intentions have been undermined by a series of corruption cases, where funds meant for infrastructure development and maintenance have been misappropriated. One of the most common forms of corruption within this agency is contract fraud. This involves officials accepting bribes in return for awarding transportation contracts to certain companies, often disregarding the quality of service these companies can provide. Another form of corruption prevalent in the department is embezzlement, where officials misuse public funds for personal gain. The consequences of this corruption are far-reaching and detrimental. Infrastructure projects are delayed or poorly executed, leading to safety risks and inconvenience for the public. It also results in the wastage of taxpayer money, which could have been used for the betterment of society. Furthermore, this corruption discourages honest contractors from bidding on projects, as they know they stand no chance against those willing to engage in corrupt practices. This lack of competition leads to a decrease in the quality of service provided, which ultimately affects the public. The Department of Transportation's corruption not only undermines public trust in the agency, but also in the government as a whole. It's a stark reminder that corruption can infiltrate even the most essential public services, causing harm to society and the economy. Addressing corruption within this agency and others like it is a crucial step towards ensuring transparency, accountability, and efficient service delivery in our governmental system. It's a daunting task, but one that must be undertaken for the betterment of our society. Moving forward, let's reveal the 4th most corrupt governmental agency. Grabbing the 4th spot in our countdown, we have the Department of Transport. This agency, responsible for the country's infrastructure and transportation systems, often finds itself in a murky pool of corruption scandals. The Department of Transport is instrumental in shaping our daily lives, from the roads we drive on to the public transport we rely on. It's a mighty cog in the machine of government, managing a vast budget and overseeing a myriad of projects. But with great power, as they say, comes great responsibility, and unfortunately, great opportunity for corruption. Several high-profile cases have linked this agency to shady deals and questionable contracts. Remember the infamous highway project scandal? An investigation revealed that billions were misappropriated under the guise of construction costs. while the actual roads were left in a state of disrepair? Or how about the public transport fiasco where funds meant for upgrading the system were instead diverted into private pockets? These are but a few examples of the corruption that plagues this agency. The consequences of such corruption are far-reaching. It's not just about wasted taxpayer money, it's about the deterioration of public services and infrastructure. When funds for road maintenance or public transport improvements are siphoned off, it's the ordinary citizens who bear the brunt. They're left with crumbling roads, unreliable buses and trains, and a transport system that's more of a hindrance than a help. The corruption within the Department of Transport is a stark reminder of the need for transparency, accountability, and effective checks and balances within our governmental agencies. It's a wake-up call for us all that we must vigilantly hold these agencies to account and demand better. Next up, we delve into the third most corrupt governmental agency. Securing the third position in our countdown is an agency that may strike you as unexpected. This agency is none other than the Department of Health and Human Services. Responsible for the health and well-being of the nation, its services are crucial to us all. Yet it's here that we see a startling level of corruption. The Department of Health and Human Services is entrusted with a vast budget, intended to be used for public health initiatives, medical research, and the regulation of food and drugs. However, the misuse of these funds is rampant, with embezzlement and fraud being common occurrences. For instance, funds meant for disease prevention and medical research are often misdirected towards private interests. This not only undermines the agency's mandate but also endangers public health. Moreover, the corruption here tends to be systemic, making it difficult to weed out. This corruption has far-reaching effects. It erodes public trust in the agency and the government as a whole. It also means that crucial resources that should be used to improve public health are instead being wasted. Perhaps the most tragic consequence of this corruption is the potential loss of life, as funds that could be used for life-saving research and treatments are instead pocketed by corrupt officials. The corruption in the Department of Health and Human Services is a stark reminder of the grim reality that even those agencies entrusted with our well-being are not immune to greed and dishonesty. It's a sobering fact that underscores the importance of transparency, accountability, and stringent oversight in governmental operations. As we continue our countdown, it's crucial to remember that the purpose of this list isn't to cast aspersions on the hardworking and honest individuals within these agencies. Rather, it's to shine a light on systemic issues that need to be addressed for the betterment of society. As we inch closer to the top, let's uncover the second most corrupt governmental agency. Just shy of the top spot, our second most corrupt governmental agency is... Now we turn our gaze to an agency that might not have been on your radar. This agency, entrusted with the welfare of the nation, has unfortunately been marred by scandals and allegations. Its primary role is to provide essential services to the public and to maintain the smooth functioning of our society. Yet, it's accused of misusing funds, favoritism, and even bribery. These allegations, if true, not only undermine the integrity of the agency, but also erode the public's trust in our government. The implications of such corruption are far-reaching. It's not just about the loss of taxpayer money. It's about the degradation of our public services, the potential harm to our citizens, and the erosion of our democratic values. Finally, it's time to reveal the most corrupt governmental agency. Hold on to your seats because this one's a doozy. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The most corrupt governmental agency is, brace yourselves. It is the agency responsible for safeguarding our very livelihoods and resources, yet it's been tainted by the murky waters of corruption. This agency, which we entrust with our country's wealth and resources, has sadly become a playground for the greedy and unscrupulous. It is involved in countless scandals, from embezzling public funds to awarding contracts to phantom companies. Its officials are neck-deep in bribes, kickbacks, and all manners of unethical practices. The effects of this corruption are devastating. Public resources meant to improve the lives of the citizens are siphoned off, leaving the majority in dire need. Infrastructure projects are left incomplete, and the quality of public services takes a nosedive. There you have it, the top 5 most corrupt governmental agencies. These are the entities that should stand as pillars of integrity, but instead, they've become havens for corruption. Now that we've uncovered the top 5 most corrupt governmental agencies, let's do a quick recap. Our journey began with the 5th most corrupt agency, painting a picture of the subtle yet deeply entrenched corruption that plagues many governmental bodies worldwide. We then took a closer look, diving deeper into the layers of deceit, mismanagement, and blatant disregard for ethics. We ventured further into the murky waters of corruption with our Unveiling of the Hidden, demonstrating how corruption often operates beneath the surface, masked by bureaucracy and convoluted processes. Our countdown continued with the revelation of the 2nd most corrupt agency. This level of corruption highlighted the impact on the lives of everyday citizens, a stark reminder of the real-world consequences of such unethical practices. Finally, we unveiled the most corrupt agency, an entity so steeped in corruption that it almost defies belief. This last revelation served as a wake-up call, a stark reminder of the systemic corruption that can exist within the very institutions entrusted with upholding law, order, and justice. But why does this matter? It's not just about pointing fingers or creating sensational headlines, it's about the importance of transparency and accountability in government. Without these, corruption flourishes, undermining public trust and crippling the very foundation of democracy. Transparency is the antidote to corruption, shining a light on the dark corners where unethical practices thrive. It's about demanding that our government agencies operate in the best interests of the people they serve, not the pockets they can line. Accountability, on the other hand, ensures that those who participate in corrupt practices face consequences for their actions. It's about reinforcing the message that no one is above the law and that corruption in any form is unacceptable. In the end, the fight against corruption is a collective effort. It's about staying vigilant, asking questions, and demanding better from those in power. Thank you for joining us in this revealing countdown. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay informed.